The Oilers are at home to Utah tonight. Let's head right there right now to bring in Ryan Rishaug, who had an interesting interaction with Leon Drysdale. Yes, it's super early, but you guys brought up the fact that the Mammoth are currently first in the West. The Oilers are 10th in the West. And Drysdale got a little bit surly when you guys mentioned that fact to him, right?
I don't know if I would say surly. He was very matter of fact. He basically said, yes, they're off to a good start. You know, they've started hot, but this isn't really the time of year where that matters, right? Like you got to do it down the stretch, which is true, not untrue, but just interesting that Drysdale took it there. But listen, Leon Draisaitl's, he's an honest person. He's an honest player. He says what's on his mind. Certainly not going to criticize a guy that answers a question when you ask it to him. But he's always had that little bit of edge, right? He's competitive. And, yeah, this Oiler team isn't where they would like to be. The Mammoth are off to a great start. But it takes a lot to impress Leon Draisaitl. So, I don't think it was him trying to be controversial or anything. It was just pretty matter of fact by a guy that kind of thinks that way.
But it's fun to hear him say it out loud. Look, we get the fact that Draisaitl's saying pump the brakes. It's still early. But while he's scoring, he's got 7 goals already, just 1 off the league lead. Something's off with McDavid right now. McDavid only has 1 goal through his first 10 games. I know he's going to be fine. I get that. But Ryan, what are you seeing from McDavid right now?
It's October. This is McDavid in October. Like the last 3 years, this tracks entirely. Connor McDavid is a slow starter. Why it's more notable this year is because he said before camp started that he wanted to get back to focusing on scoring goals. And generally when Connor McDavid says, I'm going to try and do this, he does it, right? He can. So what's notable about this is the fact that he's got 1 goal in 10 games after saying he wants to score more. But if you look at his numbers, he's actually ahead of pace this year overall compared to the last few years. So he was 3-7-10 in his first 10 games last year. He's got 12 points right now. And he was 2-8-10 the year before. For whatever reason, October's a struggle. But that also tracks with the team, Gino. 4 wins in their first 10. Last year, 4 wins in their first 10. 2 the year before. So they're temperamental in the early going. It takes them a little bit of time to come out of their slumber. It's not a great trait. Fair to criticize, but it's also not a reason to have an existential crisis about who the Oilers are and what they're going to be. This is them in October, and McDavid too.
All right, McDavid's going to be McDavid. Everything's obviously going to be fine there. We have some fun with that. But what's not fun right now is the Oilers' blue line. Evan Bouchard has come under some fire. Now Bouchard is getting paired with Nurse. What do you think of the Oilers' blue line, especially at the top end of it right now?
Yeah, so Evan Bouchard has had some big mistakes at big times that have grabbed some headlines. And that's why the criticism has been pretty strong for Evan Bouchard, because it's been big moments. But make no mistake, Matthias Ekholm, big time struggling to start this season. Darnell Nurse has definitely had his struggles as well. So these are 3 critical defensemen for the Oilers, and none of them are where they would like their game to be. Again, tracks with the rest of the team, so be fair to everybody here, but their games need to get better. They've been struggling so much, that's why Chris Knoblauch made this change. He just needed to shake things up. Bouchard and Ekholm are always together, always together. When he breaks that up, you know something has gone wrong. So when you get all 3 of them struggling, you shake it up. Nurse and Bouchard traditionally have not worked over any stretch of time. It seems obvious to, highly paid franchise type defensemen. They don't play together that often. They were really good together last game, Gino. I don't know how long it'll last, but they're trying to shake things up while everyone is struggling the way they are.
All right, McDavid took a huge haircut. We all know that, to give this team a chance to win. They're a 500 team right now, 4th in the division. What, if anything, needs to be addressed right away? Or would you echo Draisaitl's comments and say, take it easy, pump the brakes, we're still early, we're fine?
Well, I would caution against running out and making some knee-jerk move because they have 4 wins in their first 10 games. Because as we very clearly spelled out in the first few minutes of this hit, that's the Oilers in October. So to judge what they've done so far and say, go make a move that you might not otherwise, I think that's a mistake. I think Stan Bowman knows that. I think they're going to stand pat here to a degree and let things breathe a little bit. in terms of what they're looking for, they're going to need some more scoring pop up front. Zach Hyman is going to help that, Gino. But if you're asking me right now, what's their big addition going to be at the deadline this year? What am I going to be standing here talking to James Duthie about in our trade deadline previews? It's going to be a scoring winger that can play in the top six and give this team a little bit more zip. Now, goaltending, we'll see. It's too early in the year for you and I to start arguing about goaltending because
it's not.
No one will get a word in it. No, it's too early. We're not doing it yet. But I can see that conversation coming up in late November, early December. We'll see where it's at. The early returns have been just okay, but not time for you and I to go toe-to-toe on that yet, Gino. Not time. No snow on the ground yet.
Hold on a second. We don't necessarily need to go toe-to-toe, but for you to say the goaltending's been okay, Skinner and Pickard have combined for the 26th best save percentage in the league. That's sixth worst in the league.
I feel like I didn't say okay, didn't I go, meh?
New.
It's been meh?
But this is
They got
not
other stuff
new,
going
Ryan.
on right now. I know, Gino, I know. Listen, so I think I said this to you before. The Oilers will not go into the playoffs this year with Stuart Skinner as their starter if he hasn't shown that this is going to be a better year for him. If he hasn't shown that he's made some improvements, and if he isn't a higher-end goaltender, I don't believe Stan Bowman will let it ride into the playoffs again with Stuart Skinner. So we're in that window of time where he's got to be showing this, right? Over the next 2 or 3 months before the trade deadline, he needs to show it. Will that end up as a major to-do on his list? Potentially. That's why I'm saying let's see how he does in this window before you and I start wasting valuable internet time on.
But here's my point, buddy. And I get what you're saying. I understand that. But goalies are going to become available soon as teams realize they're out of it. And if you don't pounce on those goalies soon, if you sit back and say, our guy will figure it out, and then he doesn't figure it out, then it's too late. So you and I are going to be revisiting this all season long, brother.
Yeah, I look forward to it. And you make a great point. And what I will say is this, Gino. Stan Bowman doesn't want to do a deal just for the sake of doing a deal and putting a different guy in the sweater. He wants to do a deal where he knows it's going to be an upgrade, right? That's what he's waiting for. And if that deal, to your point, pops up, I think he'll go ahead and make it. I think he's ready and willing to upgrade the goaltending. What he's not willing to do is make a trade for the sake of making a trade, hoping it's better without a certain level of certainty. Because the one thing you have to admit, Gino, like Stuart Skinner's cap number allows the Oilers to do other things in their lineup.
Yes.
And if all of a sudden you got to figure out a way to spend $5-6 million in net for a potential upgrade, now you can't do as much. And they don't take that for granted. But fair by you.
I would agree with you. That's a great point, my friend. Oilers and Mammoth on the ice in Edmonton tonight, and it's clear the Oilers are getting a little bit feisty about their start. So tonight's a great opportunity to send a message. Ryan, thanks for this, buddy. Enjoyed the game. We'll talk later in the week.